Okay, it's going to be a quick review of NXT Takeover in New York. The show took place at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn right before, the Friday before WrestleMania. And I would definitely say another great NXT Takeover. You could argue this being the best NXT Takeover to date so far. But, to be honest, there's been a few of them now. That's a really good question. I think there's a few that you could really argue for, going back to New Orleans. Even last year, I really liked the one from last year at SummerSlam from Brooklyn. I thought that was another great one. And here we go again. And it's getting to the point right now where you have to kind of question, like, are these NXT takeovers so good that it's actually spoiling the fans that are going to WrestleMania or going to SummerSlam? And I think it is. I mean, when you see a show of this magnitude, of this high quality, it's kind of tough to watch the WWE main show product. It really is, especially with the way they order those matches. The way this show was structured, it was pretty much flawless. And once again, you don't even have to be an NXT fan to enjoy it. They do such a great job of the video packaging. The crowd is so into it that it just really keeps you engaged throughout the whole show. I thought everything was great here. Very, very little to complain about. So let's get right into it. You had the War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, taking on Alister Black and Ricochet for the NXT Tag Team Championship. It really just really good stuff here. I mean, the story of the match was, the War Raiders really actually kept up with Ricochet's offense here. They busted out a lot of, innovative things. They kept up with them. There was tons of high spots here. They didn't bring the match down at all. Alister Black was incredible here. Just a lot of stiff knees. Just really, just a lot of combat skill from here. He's a hell of a worker. Ricochet, vintage Ricochet performance. The guy never disappoints, and great finish, great crowd. Both guys got Alister Black and Ricochet got a standing ovation. Ricochet had tears in his eyes because of the reaction. Probably one of his last NXT matches. Maybe that's why. But man, the War Raiders look great here. I was never a huge fan of them in the when they were a part of the ROH product, but man, they look good here. They hung with Ricochet and Alister Black like you wouldn't believe here. I mean, they you could argue that they actually busted out more high spot offense than Ricochet in this match, which was kind of tough to believe. But the match kicked the show off with a bang. Next up, you have Velveteen Dream taking on Matt Riddle for the North American Championship here, and I'm going to say that this might have been my favorite match from WrestleMania weekend. I thought it was that good. Someone brought up the point how Riddle's kind of struggled so far in NXT, but this is my first time seeing him, and I was blown away. I thought this was highly entertaining, just a breath of fresh air. I think Riddle is a great character. He reminds me of the guy from Good Burger, the way he the way his promos go and everything. He's just a fun guy. This match just had a ton of charisma. You got two fresh, up-and-coming young talents here. Riddle busted out a lot of great things here. The straight-jacket German suplex from over the top rope. Looked like Velveteen Dream landed on his head, but he did over-rotate. That was great. Did you see Bill Simmons? Used to work at ESPN, wrote the book of basketball. The one guy that Mike Francesa was willing to replace the Mad Dog with. Yeah, man, Bill Simmons marked out like crazy for some of Riddle's spots here. And the crowd was great here. They people just jumping up and down with smiles on their faces. Like I said, Velveteen Dream probably even more over than Riddle here. He actually beautiful counter to end the match. The match kind of had a disappointing ending. It was going so well that you wanted it to continue. But just great stuff from both guys. Great submission work from Riddle, but at the same time, Riddle was just really exciting with some of the moves that he pulled off. Great high spots, great suplexes, just must-see offense here. I thought while this lasted, this was probably the most entertaining thing on the show. So definitely check it out there. Awesome stuff. I'm a huge fan of Riddle. And Nigel and them even talked in commentary about the benefits and the side effects to Riddle not wearing boots out there. I thought that was really good commentary as well. Everything about the show just really clicked. And next up, a lot of people thought this was the match of the night. You have Walter from WXW taking on Pete Dunne from Progress in the WWE for the United States, for the United Kingdom Championship, excuse me. And yeah, man, great stuff. Walter looked like a beast here. He ended Pete Dunne's historic reign. So Pete Dunne's been champion for well over a year, and he lost the United Kingdom Championship. But the crowd was just in awe here. This had a David versus Goliath feel, but the crowd was just mesmerized by the the impact that this match had. It was just, Pete Dunne was just trying to chop down a tree. And, Walter was just delivered so much offense from the top rope. Even the splash to win the match just came off great. Like I said, the crowd was just really, really, in awe of some of the feats of strength from this match. And Dunn's, his psychology behind the match really worked for the most part. I mean, I think if this match had taken place at WrestleMania, obviously, even if this match had taken place at the Garden for the ROH New Japan show, I don't think it would have came off as good. But it was just the story of this match just really worked, and it came off great. Just great stuff. Walter's just a beastly man here. He looked awesome. He's not in the best physical shape, but he's a better athlete and just so much of a dominating wrestler than he looks. He's even that much skilled. He's more skilled than he looks. I'll definitely say that. And he was great here. Just awesome stuff. Some people are going to argue that being the match of the night. So next up, you had Shayna Baszler taking on Shirai. Oh God, let me get these names right. I haven't seen a lot of these. This is my first time seeing most of these women. So Shayna taking on Shirai, taking on Bianca Belair, taking on Kairi Sane in a fatal four-way women's match. Definitely the worst match on the show. The four-way stuff, it felt a little bit like a train wreck in the beginning. But by the last 5 to 10 minutes were great though. I really thought all these women brought it. There was the black girl in the match. She did a tremendous double Death Valley driver, which came off great. I don't know. I don't watch NXT as much as you other guys, so I heard that there's some mixed feelings about the way Shayna won. Maybe the reign is going on a little bit too long. They're kind of forcing it to the point where it's it's a longer title reign than Asuka. So I know there's some mixed feelings about that, but I don't know. I thought she looked great though. She really is intimidating. I thought the finish came off badass, to be completely honest with you. The two Asian girls kind of had a friendly competition going on there, so that was pretty cool. Easily the worst match on the show. The match really stuck out like a sore thumb, but it's not a bad match by any means. Really, the four-way matches, they're incredibly tough to book, I would say, but by the end of this match, it was just really, really good stuff. It didn't bring the show down at all, to be honest with you. And then we move on to the main event. Yeah, Johnny Gargano taking on Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT Championship with Tommaso Ciampa going down. I wish Ciampa all the best in the world. I hope he recovers. Has to get neck surgery. That obviously sucks. Hopefully, it's not. It's a neck surgery where he could come back from quickly. But I don't think I really would have been in the mood to see another Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match. I feel like we've seen that a lot of times, but maybe never for the championship where Gargano had won. I guess that was the selling point here, that Gargano was supposed to get his big win over Tommaso Ciampa. So Adam Cole kind of plays a substitute teacher here. And 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT Championship. I'm going to say it was the match of the night. I really think it was. There's some mixed feelings on this thing. So positives and negatives. Let me start with the negatives first. The 2 out of 3 falls. I would just say this. It's incredibly tough. They really challenged themselves, and they almost they really almost fully exceeded expectations as far as what they were trying to do. I mean, they really tried to overdo it here, and I just think 2 out of 3 falls to go that amount of time, it's a little bit tough. So especially in the first fall, I just felt like it was a little bit too choreographed. I felt like when I was watching the first fall, like they actually had practiced this in the week leading up to the match. That's just how it came off to me. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but I'm just trying to be honest. It felt like filler. I just hate to say it, but that's kind of how it came off. Like, I just think if this was just one fall, it would have came off so much better. And the match was still great to me. I still thought, possibly the best match from WrestleMania weekend. I thought that last fall was just incredible. When the interference came out, Adam Cole's stable with Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong coming out there, man. It was, when I saw it, I was like, the match doesn't need interference. I was like, we're just gonna get a flat ending. But I was wrong. I mean, the interference actually made the match better. I mean, you had some of the most exciting near falls ever. I mean, the match over delivered. I mean, you cannot say that the match did not deliver. The match over delivered. The fans definitely got their money's worth. Gargano and Cole's conditioning was just off the charts. I mean, NXT, the one thing about NXT that I find really attractive, I mean, everything about this company is clicking on all cylinders, but the main selling point, if you want to become a wrestler, just do whatever you can to get to NXT. I mean, you could just see the conditioning of both guys is just on another level. The video package for both guys working out and training, to me, it kind of made me jealous. I'm just like, man, these guys have, they don't have to worry about money. They have access to all these, state-of-the-art facilities, and they could just train all day, and there's probably chefs that cook for them so they can eat healthy, and they don't have to worry about the burden of a financial situation that could limit their training. I mean, so you could definitely see, I'm proud of both guys. I think both guys have had ups and downs. Johnny Gargano is kind of like Gabe Sapolsky's predecessor to the ROH heyday. Adam Cole is kind of like the face of, Ring of Honor since they sold the company. So, both guys have had some ups and downs, and it was kind of like the meeting of both fences here. And, I just thought it was great stuff. I mean, you got some really, really must-see spots. The table spot where they both got into the ring was great. The submission work was pretty much off the charts. There was just so much here that, high spots off the top rope with the shell shock, tons of insecurities, tons of super kicks. I mean, you can make an argument that they did overdo it, but it was highly entertaining. It was highly inspirational. It's one of those matches that makes you want to go work out, especially with the video package. It makes you want to work out. It kind of makes you feel guilty a little bit because these guys just put in so much work that it's just tough to talk about everything they did here. But I'll say this, like, I've never really seen, probably since last year WrestleMania weekend. That's the closest thing I remember when Gargano faced Ciampa in that great main event. I would actually put the Ciampa match over this from last year because it didn't have the 2 out of 3 falls thing, and it didn't feel as forced. This felt a little bit forced in the beginning. That's the only reason I wouldn't give it 5. But I'll tell you, man, the last 5 minutes here with Gargano kicking out of everything and actually getting the victory here. I mean, it came off great. Now I will say this: Gargano had there was a lot of fans that turned on Gargano here. The problem is I think he's been a face for too long. And especially whenever you bring the relationship thing into the storyline, that always affects you. That's been going on for decades now, ever since Steamboat did it back in the 80s. But, with Gargano here, he hasn't been a heel. I don't think he's been a heel in NXT yet. So it's been quite a while. And I felt like he's been in this spot for quite some time now. So I felt like Adam Cole had more fan support here. I think Adam Cole in NXT, I just think he's gotten so much better. Both guys. I mean, I just remember Gargano, people laughing at him when he was in the opening fray of the Dragon Gate USA first show. You remember people used to make fun of his first promo. They thought he was like some wacky guy. And then Cole kind of came off like a pretty boy. I think he was on the first Evolve show, and he took some criticism for his promos too. So both guys have really come a long way, and that for them to arguably steal the show WrestleMania weekend, you got Meltzer actually giving this match 5.5 stars. See, I think Meltzer is. See, I see what Meltzer did with the 6-star match with Omega and Okada. I don't know why he went in that direction. I just think when you go over the 5-star system, it really does devalue his system, I would say. I'm just not a big fan of it. I thought his system was fine the way it was, but when you you're kind of opening up Pandora's box, I would say, when you go over the 5-star level and start going out 5.5, 6-star. You know, let's just put a 7-star out there, and then let's get it up to 10 stars. See, that's what's probably going to happen eventually. And I don't know. I thought 5 stars, you just keep it at that. Anytime you go over that, it's kind of like, you know, what are we doing here? But give Meltzer actually loved the match, so that's great. So yeah, I thought this was another great NXT takeover. That's pretty much it, guys. And WrestleMania weekend, though, let me say this. Bryan Danielson, Kofi Kingston. Obviously, I think you're going to remember that match the most for WrestleMania weekend. But let's face it, the WWE. It's hard to have such a great match at a WrestleMania. So yeah, with this, my favorite match on the show is Velveteen Dream versus Riddle. I thought that was my favorite match. That's the one I'd definitely go back to. But I'll give Gargano and Cole credit because I've never seen that type of excitement in a really long time to end the match. And with that type of drama, that type of crowd. The facial expressions in the crowd, it's very rare that you see that. The match overly delivered. That's the type of match you're looking for at WrestleMania. So Gargano and Cole, they're definitely in contention for stealing the show for the whole weekend. Even Walter versus Pete Dunne. A lot of people probably thought that stole the show. So let me say this. I saw the main event of the New Japan Ring of Honor show. It was actually on TV. There was no playoffs on that night, so I was just kind of scrolling around, and New Japan is actually on TV. And they showed the main event. They showed Jay White, the IWGP champion, taking on Okada. The match was kind of pretty pedestrian in the beginning. It really took a while to get into it, but you're kind of like your typical Okada match. Starts off very slow, but the ending is just, the ending just really over-delivered there. So Okada wins the belt back at the Garden. And I wouldn't say the match was great. It was kind of like, if you've seen an Okada match, it's really nothing groundbreaking. But I would definitely say it definitely delivered. But the whole feel of that Madison Square Garden show, it just kind of had it felt more like WrestleMania than the NXT Takeover. I think that's a good way to put it. Another match that people are raving about is from WrestleCon. It's Will Ospreay and Bandito. Saw some of the highlights. Just looked like a sick, a sick match with just a lot of must-see spots and just a lot of ballsy offense. There was one reverse Rana spot that looks sick. So definitely check out Will Ospreay versus Bandito from WrestleCon. That seems like it's getting my friend Chase C-Dude, who used to be friends with Truth Slayer back in the day. He said that was the best match from WrestleMania weekend. So I don't know. Let me know what stole the show from WrestleMania weekend and NXT Takeover New York from Brooklyn. Awesome show. Possibly the best NXT Takeover yet. But it's debatable now. It's getting to the point now where I think there's probably about 4 or 5 that you can argue for. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoy the video and take care. All right.